and he knows how it feels to be there. I imagine right now Nigel Mansell is getting out the pen and the writing paper. He wrote a letter to Sebastian Vettel after the last race, because Sebastian had broken Nigel's record as the most number of laps led in a season, and now Sebastian picks up that 14th pole position. So Nigel will be writing to him to say congratulations, and what a driver, what a pole position man.
Well, he's just got better and better. There's just no words left to say how much we admire this man. He's absolutely magic. And from that point of view, the guy is, he's walking on water.
OK, well, it was a dramatic qualifying session, and joining us now is Sir Paul McCartney. Well, you were watching that in the garage. We were watching it on the television, and we found it exciting. How was it for you?
It was really exciting. I mean, I've only been to one before, Monaco, but now I see what George was so passionate about. It's just adrenaline, it's fantastic. The guys were giving me the information in there, so I'm hooked.
Great, because George Harrison loved his Formula One, didn't he?
Well, George, he used to, I have to tell you this, he used to dress up in all sorts of gear, hide in the back of the Jordan pits for some time, but he was a huge Damon Hill fan.
Yeah.
And he got off on it and he just loved it.
Yeah, he did, yeah. And like I say, I feel emotional today because, it's like he's here with me. It's beautiful anyway. I love it.
Great. Now, the most important question, are we interrupting your honeymoon, or are you interrupting your honeymoon to come and watch a Formula One race?
No, this is part of it.
Is it?
This is part
You're
of
a lucky man.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, the British boys are going to win, hopefully tomorrow, because we're in town and vibing it up. What do you think of that?
I'm going to go back. Forget that motor racing for a moment. 50 years ago, I remember walking down the streets of Dublin to crowd my way through this massive crowd for the Beatles. Does it ever worry you, 50 years later, how big an influence the Beatles were on all our lives?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, I'm very proud of it. I think we could have kind of put out a message that was a bad message. I think we kind of put out a pretty good message, so I'm very proud of it. I'm a lucky man.
Well, we know that too, but so are we. We're all very lucky.
And we know why you're here this weekend. Lewis Hamilton has invited you into the garage. He's clearly a fan of music legends at the moment. He had Bob Marley on his helmet a couple of weeks ago, and now you're here cheering him on. How did that come about?
Excellent. Well, I don't know. Somebody just invited me in. I didn't know it was Lewis. But I'm very pleased to be here anyway in Abu Dhabi doing the gig tomorrow night. And it's just great to come down and see this firsthand right there, right in. Hearing that noise, seeing the cars, it's pretty hot stuff.
How does it compare to being on stage in front of a few thousand people, being here, soaking up the atmosphere of Formula One cars?
It's kind of similarities, yeah. I mean, I'll get the big feedback off the audience, you don't get here. But it's pretty great.
Right, I'm not sure why Eddie is doing this.
I'm sorry, I have to do this because Children in Need, we've started out something. I wore this amazing Indian
saw you
shirt.
on the telly
wearing
that, yeah.
Now, do you know what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to sign this for our kids.
I hope you
because
are.
every driver is going to do that. And if we add Paul McCartney to that, I think we will have something. Did I fall over you, Jake? You're big feet, Jake has. So we think we will add significantly to the Children in Need, and the pen is here, so we can...
You hold that side for me.
And we'll do this on live television, so there's no doubt about the authenticity of the signature. And this will have my dad paying over the odds for this shirt. There we go. Sir Paul McCartney at the Grand Prix, performing here this weekend and signing the shirt for Children in Need.
Abu Dhabi.
Wow.
All right, man.
We're even more impressed the fact that he would watch the BBC, no less, from India last weekend. Thanks, George.
Great. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you.
Cheers. Good luck with that.
All the very best. Right, so there you go. The shirt has been signed by Sir Paul McCartney. And if you're thinking, how do I get my hands on that shirt, or the script that we've also donated from the race last time out, or any of the other wonderful Formula One things, including David Coulthard's white jeans that he has signed, then just head to bbc.co.uk/Pudsey and you can get bidding, and happy bidding indeed. So there you go. Paul McCartney enjoyed himself. He likened this to being on stage, and that man knows what it takes to be on stage and impress the crowds. What about the drivers themselves? How did they find it out there? It was some qualifying session. Let's hear from them.
Sebastian, you equal Nigel Mansell's record of 14 poles in a season today. Congratulations, but you had to dig pretty deep, I think, to get this one.
Oh, yes, especially after yesterday, where, to be honest, I wasn't very happy with the car, and we weren't happy in general, because we thought that there's more in the car, the performance is there, but we couldn't really get to it. And this afternoon, it was already quite a bit better. But to be honest, this place is tricky in many ways. You have the practice, on the one hand in day conditions, the sun is up, the track is a little bit hotter. And then in the evening you qualify a new race, and the circuit is quite a bit different. The car behaves differently, the tires come in differently. So yeah, it's not easy to get that right all the time. And then in qualifying in particular, I had a much better feeling, especially moving on to the soft tires. Already in Q2, we looked much better than before. And yeah, you know, then the other difficulty around here is to get everything into one lap. It's a long lap. There's a lot of corners, especially the last sector. Once you start, you know, to turn into turn 11 after the second straight, it's basically just left, right. And yeah, plenty of opportunity to gain time, but also, you know, if you take a lot of risk, it's very easy to do a little mistake. And yeah, it's very easy to lose straight away a lot of time. You know, we're not speaking 1, 2, 3 hundredths. It's immediately a tenth and a half. So yeah, I was not so happy with my first run in Q3, but the second run much happier, especially the first 2 sectors. And with that, I was buying myself a little bit of a cushion in the last sector, which was a bit trickier towards the end of the evening. So, but all in all, just enough to jump ahead of Lewis, who looked very strong all weekend. And yeah, you know, it's good that in that session where it matters on Saturday, we were able to, yeah, as I said, to be just that little bit quicker than him.
Well done. As Lewis, as Sebastian said, you've really been in control all weekend. Did you think you'd done enough there?
No, it was a good session for me. I think it's been quite a good couple of days, to be honest. Quite a big improvement for me, I feel, from the last race at least. And yeah, we were quick. You know, the car's been feeling good, but just at the end there, that was as fast as I was really able to get out of my lap. It wasn't particularly a great lap, but the one in Q2 was much better. But that's the way it is, and well done to Sebastian. He did a great lap, and as always, he's very, very quick. So, but the race is tomorrow. That's the most important day.
Jensen, you put it all together there on your final run. Is this result a surprise to you and the team today?
I don't think it's a surprise, but you know, we know the pace is in the car, and it was finding the right balance. I've not felt 100% comfortable this weekend in terms of the balance of the car, but we've improved it. We've tried a few different things and finally getting there through qualifying. But Q3 was very strange because there was less grip because it was a lot cooler, the circuit, and obviously with the break from Q2 to Q3. So the car was acting differently, which in some ways was a good thing for me because I couldn't get enough front end into the car. All weekend I've been struggling with a nervous rear. Finally, when we get into qualifying, I've got massive amounts of understeer. So more in the direction I like, but in the tight section towards the end of the lap, you need a reasonably pointy car, and I didn't have that. So, yeah, not a bad lap, but still, you know, I think, as Lewis said, you know, the car is working well around here, and it's obviously not perfect. Seb did a good job and put it on pole, so we'll have to challenge from behind tomorrow.
Well, this weekend is all about making sure that we remember, and we will remember for a while, that pretty impressive fight for pole position here in Abu Dhabi. And once again, it belongs to Sebastian Vettel. He picks up his 14th of the season. How much would Lewis Hamilton have loved to have held on to that provisional pole position? Jenson Button fighting his teammate all the way, and Mark Webber in the mix, but once again behind his teammate. A little bit further back, we've got the Ferraris going 2 by 2. That's probably where they are on raw pace alone at the moment, and right behind them, the 2 Mercedes drivers fighting it out. Just 5 points separates Michael Schumacher from Nico Rosberg in the standings, and behind them the 2 Force India drivers as well. They've made a habit of making it into Q3 and they're not running to save their tyres, which I know, looking at Twitter, is very frustrating for all of you. Well done to Sergio Perez, 20th on the grid last time out. He starts 11th for tomorrow's race, and Vitaly Petrov once again out qualifying his teammate. That is the 3rd straight race that Bruno Senna has been out-qualified. Sebastian Buemi starts 13th for Toro Rosso. Toro Rosso have scored points at every single Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and he starts just in front of his teammate Jaime Alguersuari, who's alongside Kamui Kobayashi. Then we move backwards towards Pastor Maldonado. He takes a 10-place penalty. He will start from the back. That means this is Williams' worst qualifying performance in over 30 years. A tough season for them. Timo Glock and Jarno Trulli, they share the grid towards the back here, and well done to Daniel Ricciardo once again in front of his teammates by half a second this weekend. Jerome D'Ambrosio just in front of Vitantonio Liuzzi, and the incredibly unlucky Rubens Barrichello, who didn't get out at all. And he's not the only unlucky one. David Coulthard arriving just as Paul McCartney leaves, which is a shame. But that was a qualifying session fitting for a global icon such as Paul, wasn't it?
It was indeed, and I think, if I heard correctly, I think you called him
Don't
George
say
at the end of
Do
the,
not say
in the
that.
session, so sorry about
That's
that.
not
But
true.
he knows who he is, of course. He was just in awe. What a great qualifying session. When I was watching Jensen's sectors unfold, we hadn't really seen much of him during this the practice sessions and the qualifying sessions so far, but he looked like he was coming alive at the last part of the session. So close to his teammate, but once again Sebastian finds that last little bit of pace.
And we use a really small monitor here in the paddock just for ease of moving around, so I popped into the McLaren hospitality just to watch the last 2 minutes, and the roar when Jensen went one, and then the roar when Lewis went one, and then the complete despair when Sebastian Vettel snatched that position away from the both of them. How McLaren would have loved to have had 1-2 on the grid after a pretty tough season.
Of course they would want to have that, but it shouldn't be despair. This was a titanic battle. Every single person here were on the edge of their seat. We were watching this little small monitor here because, in fact, half the paddock was. You were all
They were
in the
crowded
air-conditioned place. But we soaked up the atmosphere. It was a great I will remember this qualifying for a very long time.
Yep, and we were very lucky actually because FOM have decided to use a new camera this weekend facing towards Sebastian Vettel, and when the sun goes down the clear visors come out, and that means we get a chance to actually see the driver's eyes. And David, this must bring back some memories of fighting a Formula One car halfway around the track.
Yeah, no, this is great. So we're getting back into what is the sort of street circuit section, and let's see if we can just watch his eyes. Someone had pointed out that they didn't see him blink at all on this lap. Can you see any blinks in there? Unfortunately, under the shadow of the hotel. But the study of concentration, he will obviously be shallow breathing as he just absolutely focuses on every single point. See how his body is thrust down in the braking zone as he pulls 5G and then rushes for the line, looks up at the monitor. Look at that, there's a big monitor. And he sees he's on pole position. He doesn't need his engineer to tell him. Isn't that incredible? You know, the absolute focus until he gets to the line. And that was a great qualifying. We should note, though, Lewis Hamilton did a time in Q2 that was fast enough to be on pole position. He just wasn't able to bring it all together in that last part of qualifying.
And Lewis said that during the press conference. He said, if it had been my Q2 lap, I would have been on pole position. But how great to have those camera angles that show us not just that Sebastian Vettel is fully focused, but that he has what David refers to as mental spare capacity to take a look at the big screen the second he crosses the line to see if he's the pole position man. It gives you an idea of actually...
This is a man... We keep going on. You know, if the tallest summit in the world, he's on top of that by a complete margin.
That's Everest.
And, well, we didn't want to say it just in case I got it wrong, David. Okay. You'll be all kicking me. But nevertheless, he is at the highest summit that there is. Yeah. And there's just not anybody who can take it away from him. And any time we think there's likely to be someone like McLaren did a brilliant job today, but they just missed out. Now, the good thing for McLaren is make them fight that little bit harder, and I want to see a really strong McLaren next year.
Okay, well, last year, of course, Mark Webber almost managed to tame Everest, didn't he?